Hello everyone and welcome to Under the Canopy here at the Connecticut Science Center. This exhibition is presented by ProHealth Physicians, a part of Optum Care, with additional support from Liberty Bank. Now this exhibition features over a dozen live animals who call the rainforest home, and today I am talking with one of the expert animal handlers here about one of our very special friends. So let's take a look what he has to say. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you.
And who do we have here with us today?
Well, this is Piccolo, and she is a green iguana.
Oh, very cool. So Piccolo looks like she's just kind of chilling, hanging out, having a good time. I have noticed this very long tail and also some really, really long toes. So is that an adaptation that's helped Piccolo survive in the wild?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great observation. That long tail she will use for balance, for helping her to climb trees. They are an arboreal species, which means that they live most of their time in the trees. And then their long toes have nice little claws at the end as well, and that really helps them be able to climb way up high on the tree. So
she's having a great time just hanging out
right.
on the,
Yeah.
Looks like she's really nice and close to the lamp here, so she's keeping nice and warm.
Yeah.
So I have noticed also that Piccolo's kind of stayed in her enclosure for our interview today. Is there a specific reason for that?
Yeah, so iguanas, much like people, tend to be a little more individualistic than maybe some other animals are. So they're pretty smart emotionally and cognitively. So they do have their preferences on what they like, what they don't like. Some iguanas don't mind being taken out and handled. Piccolo's a little bit more shy, so she prefers to stay inside her habitat.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep Piccolo happy today and let her just kind of hang out in there. So how do you kind of tell for some an animal like an iguana, who we can't measure intelligence the same way as maybe we do as humans, how do you tell that Piccolo is a very intelligent animal?
Yeah, just through observation.
Okay.
We can't know what their thoughts are, of course, but we can observe their behavior. So they tend to have their preferred spots, their preferred people over some others as well. And we can tell just by the fact that, they prefer certain things over others.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I know Piccolo's hanging out with us here at the Science Center, but in the wild, where would we typically find a green iguana?
Yeah, so green iguanas are found in the Caribbean and Central America and South America.
Okay, cool. And I know we have seen them a lot in Florida. Is that typical to have them in Florida?
Yeah, so they are all over Florida, but they are an invasive species in Florida.
Okay, so and they've just kind of habituated there now where that's just where they
like
are.
A lot of other species, the climate in Florida is pretty good for tropical types of reptiles.
Okay, cool. So when they're hanging out in the wild, what types of food do they typically like to eat? Yeah, so they're an
herbivore, which means that they ate mainly plant matter, so a lot of greens, leaves, some vegetables, and some fruit sometimes.
Awesome. And I know we have been talking a little bit about how most of these animals in Under the Canopy are rescues. And I know we've been talking a little bit about you get a lot of rescued iguanas because they typically, people keep them as pets and things like that. Are they a good option for pets or not really?
They're a bit more of an advanced pet. So I don't always recommend iguanas, if ever, because of the level of advanced care that they need. They need a lot of space, they need a lot of attention, they need a lot of food, that sort of thing. And like I said, they tend to be pretty emotionally intelligent, which means that sometimes they have attitude, they have mood swings, so not always the best.
Yeah. And she seems to just be kind of hanging out. Do they like to move around a lot? I know we've been looking at a couple other animals that seem to be really active, but she's just hanging out. Is that typical for iguanas? Yeah,
it's pretty typical for a lot of reptiles since they are a cold-blooded animal. They tend to kind of go where the heat is to help regulate their body temperature, and they also want to save as much energy as possible. So most reptiles, unless they absolutely have to, prefer to stay very, very still and just kind of hang out.
Awesome. And you mentioned cold-blooded. What exactly does it mean? I know a lot of reptiles are. What exactly does that mean for them?
Yeah, so you may have heard the terms cold-blooded and warm-blooded. We're a type of mammal, us humans, so we are warm-blooded, which means that our body automatically regulates our body temperature, likes to keep it the same all the time, even if it's cold or too hot outside. For these guys, it's very different. Their body cannot do that, so they have to seek out sources of heat or sources of coolness to help keep that body temperature in the appropriate range.
What is their typical predator out in the wild?
So a lot of times it might be something a little bit bigger, like a big cat, or maybe some types of birds of prey.
Okay, cool. Well, and I know another big piece of Under the Canopy, and once again, if you have not yet come to Under the Canopy, we definitely encourage you to do so. There's a lot of really cool information here, is rainforest conservation. Protecting the planet, protecting our rainforest to make sure green iguanas and all the other kinds of animals that call the rainforest home have a place to live for the foreseeable future. What are ways people can, in their daily lives, make a difference to protect rainforests?
Yeah, so reducing your carbon footprint does help. Less carbon in the atmosphere means fewer things like wildfires, which tend to be pretty destructive in rainforests.
Yeah.
Also, a big threat to rainforests is clear cutting, deforestation, that sort of thing. So responsibly sourced lumber is also a really good way to help.
Well, a couple really great ways that you can, if you would like to, get involved and help our rainforests stay nice and healthy for the foreseeable future. Thank you so much, Alex, and thank you so much, Piccolo, for hanging out with us for a little bit today. We really appreciate it. And if you want to come see Under the Canopy, it is, like I said, here at the Connecticut Science Center for a limited time. We definitely encourage you to do so. Come check out Piccolo. She is awesome hanging out here, and lots of other animals here as well. So we thank you all for hanging out with us today, and we will see you next time. Thank you all for joining us today, and be sure to follow along on all of the Science Center's social media to not miss any of our upcoming animal encounters as we explore more animals who live under the canopy.